Good morning and welcome to this very special edition of Business Technology Leaders Forum. The COVID crisis has necessitated many industries to reinvent their tech strategy, and the pharma sector is no exception. We have with us today two thought leaders who are going to share with us how digital technologies are helping the pharma sector in these unprecedented times. I'd like to welcome our special guest, Mr. Sreeji Gopinathan, Global CIO, Lupin Limited, and Mr. Ravindra Ranade, Country Sales Manager, Point Next Services, HPE. We also have Ms. Shilpi Shukla, Key Account Manager, HPE, who will be following the conversation. So starting the conversation, I'd like to ask Mr. Gopinathan, please tell us, about the mega trends that are happening in the pharma and healthcare industry with respect to surge in data platforms, value-based care, wellness management, and collaboration functions.
Yeah, hi, Sudipta. Good to be in the session. Thank you for having me here. Okay, so as far as the trends are concerned, pharma is probably in a very interesting time period. If you look at the history a little bit, the regulatory boundaries within which the pharma industry has been working defined a lot of the things that used to happen in the industry, which will continue to be so. However, even before this COVID times, there was a momentum being built towards leveraging more of the technology aspects to drive different functional needs within the company, be it from sales, marketing, or in the other end, manufacturing, yeah, and everything in between as well. What COVID has done is it has accelerated that momentum. So you will see that people are a lot more receptive to the idea of leveraging technology and data. We are having very, very meaningful discussions around that. Now, if you look at the industry itself, there's a lot of pressure in moving in the direction of finding a proper medicine vaccine for the COVID, which is the biggest worry that everybody has at this point in time. But the rest of the industry trends which used to happen still is valid as far as some of the chronic diseases are concerned. Those researches will continue, and the medicinal R&D activities will have to come out with medicines for other conditions as well. Just that we have a lot of focus on COVID because of the way it has impacted our lives, whether it is an effort for vaccine or whether it is for other medicines like reactive care kind of medicines as well, whether it's remdesivir or azithromycin or any of those medicines that we're talking about. Now, considering my role, obviously where I'm really involved is in looking at how we can leverage data as much as possible to improve the efficiencies of the operations that we have, whether it is manufacturing oriented, whether it is quality of the product oriented, or on the other end, how do we effectively engage with the doctors and the healthcare practitioners, and to a great extent, how do we make information available to the patients, when they need to read up or to understand what they should be doing. So there's a lot of, as I said, there's a lot of technology leverage happening there in terms of teleconsultation or content distribution and other ways of engaging with these stakeholders that I talked about. And that is valid for our medical reps on the ground because even though doctors have started now seeing patients and are accepting appointments from the medical reps, there is still a lot of digital engagement happening, yeah, because in many instances, that is actually a lot more effective and more productive as well. So this is a new normal that we'll get into. Many of the doctor fraternity who was probably not in favor of leveraging technology for that kind of engagement, I think has realized and accepted that this is the new normal, and a lot more people are going to be, doing that as we go forward, even after, let's say, in another 6 months or so, when we have a proper resolution of the COVID situation. So that is what is going on. So it's a very, very interesting time for technologists to be involved in pharma.
Thank you. Yes, it is indeed a very interesting time for all people in the technology sector and technology leaders like you. Our next question is for Mr. Ranade. Please tell us, Mr. Ranade, I'm asking actually the same question, that what according to you are the big trends that are happening in the pharma and healthcare sector as far as technology is concerned presently?
Okay, so from HP's perspective, what we see, whether it is in the pharma sector or whether the overall manufacturing segment, if we see, there are three aspects which are coming out very clearly, which are of importance today. One is the information and communication flow from a resources or people perspective. Second is the speed at which a manufacturing unit needs to move, and obviously the R&D section of a pharma company needs to move. And top upon that, accuracy is the key here. When we are trying to develop, for example, a COVID vaccine, we might have, to maintain speed as well as accuracy when we create that vaccine as well. Now, from that perspective, HP's story comes into play more when we are talking about edge to cloud. When we say edge to cloud, I would say HP is looking at the four aspects of Industry 4.0. We were talking about Industry 4.0 and more about smart pharma 4.0 here. When we are talking about maintaining electronic records in the manufacturing environment, as well as speeding up maybe the R&D from an artificial intelligence perspective, but also communicating to the people as to what is the new norm in here. So it gels with our edge to cloud kind of scenario. And this is where I think we are moving. The information has to go. It has to be done with speed, and it has to be done with accuracy, is what we believe is the new norm. And it will go on for the next few months, I believe, with the kind of situation or strange times we are in.
Thank you. Since you mentioned about artificial intelligence, my next question for Mr. Gopinathan is related to AI. Please tell us, Mr. Gopinathan, what is the role of AI in drug discoveries, vaccine development, and associated research?
Yeah, so why do we need technology, especially the likes of artificial intelligence in the R&D processes? A couple of reasons. One is, as Ravindra mentioned, accuracy of the results, so that the human intervention and the related errors can be minimized. That's one. But more importantly, one of the big cost drivers of a pharmaceutical value chain is the time to market. That we need to bring an effective medicine. After all the clinical trials and everything that needs to go through. So anything that we can do there to accelerate that process, so less time meaning less cost. Yeah. So that is going to be very, very welcome. So artificial intelligence, machine learning, and even deep learning is one technology where the drug discovery process can be accelerated to a great extent. Why? Because there's a lot of hypotheses, there is a lot of modeling, there is a lot of technology leverage that we can bring to accelerate those aspects that I just mentioned, so that the outcomes can be reached in a much faster way. So when you apply that kind of technology in the drug discovery process, progressively you will see that the accuracy goes up because more and more historical data gets analyzed, and the accuracy levels determines the effectiveness, whether it is good or not for a particular condition, much faster. So thereby if the research is moving in the wrong direction, then a decision can be taken. We need to stop this path, and we need to take a different path to find the right outcomes for the particular therapy for which the research is happening. So so one is acceleration to reach the conclusion. Other one is early analysis outcomes, which will help us say, okay, this research is not going anywhere or it's going in the wrong direction, so we stop it. Right? So that is one angle of that. The other one is you would have probably heard about the drug repositioning that the industry does. So basically, an existing medicine which could be made available for a different therapy or different condition treatment with some modifications. So the algorithms that are used for that can be more effective if there is a particular condition for which a medicine needs to be discovered, or instead of going from scratch, there could be how do you say, the peripheral analysis that could be done, where we can say, okay, this particular medicine that we have now, a variant of that, or maybe that medicine itself could be positioned because of the nature of the treatment that is needed for this particular condition. So both drug discovery as well as the repositioning, the accuracy levels can be hugely improved. The process can be made much faster. Thereby, you have a better quality outcome at a lower cost. Yeah, so this is the role that artificial intelligence and machine learning can play in the R&D process.
Thank you. That was very interesting to know. And I'd like to ask Mr. Ranade a question along the same lines, that how is HP accelerating the drug discovery processes or QC using AI-based solution? Are you doing something about it, Mr. Ranade?
I would like to pick up from where Mr. Gopinathan, said two very key words here. One was obviously the data, and second was the accuracy piece. If you see, I believe Mr. Gopinathan would agree with me, data is at the bottom of the pyramid. When we say data is at the bottom of the pyramid, there are various kinds of data available. Today, I believe Lupin is doing electronic records for all their manufacturing units, which they had implemented some time ago. Now that is huge amount of structured data or unstructured structured data available with them. Now they are getting feedbacks from the citizens also, which might be in unstructured form. So what HP specializes is in mining this data, whether it is the unstructured data through the data lake activities or using machine language for the structured data part, to make some sense out of the data and get some accuracy available, which is the key when we are doing some R&D work here. It can go down to a level where the candidates for probably a vaccine testing can be identified. A correct candidate can be identified using these algorithms, which can be specifically built for the pharma industry. So what we are trying to do is, today, if you look at the overall calendar of a vaccine actually hitting the market might be around 3 to 4 years. We can scale down the time from where an expert is trying to shift through the data and arrive at a conclusion. See, make no mistake, that expert is doing this job very well, but maybe we can make use of algorithms and artificial intelligence from the HPs table to shorten the time and get more accurate and increase the efficiency of the experts they are sitting in the labs. So like I said, the 4 pillars, out of which R&D is the key pillar from where everything starts. If today we are developing vaccines, say for COVID-19, maybe the acceleration can be done in terms of reducing the time which is spent in the lab, assessing the data. That is where HP's expertise and value proposition will come, is what we believe. And we have the right set of solutions here, where we have our in-house tools, and we can build it on an open platform and use various aspects. Like there is a LIMS solution within, say, a pharma industry. We can connect that, we can understand the data and give a output which is accurate and with enough speed than what a human being can perform probably.
Okay, thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, definitely yes. I mean, see, if you look at the industry, some of the let's say the pioneers probably are already in this game and is already using this. But in generics, it is still very, I would say, early days as far as this is concerned. So, we are kind of figuring out where it would make sense to start. In generics business, you will see there is a development aspect of, re-engineering, so to say, an existing medicine. But we also have our own molecules now, right? I mean, companies like ours are having a wing where new drug discovery is also being done. Meaning, it's not a generic; it is our own molecule that is being developed. So the whole the value chain of the R&D process will make sense in that new drug discovery, which is relatively young in a generic industry. But in the other, mainstream generic business that we have, it is a development work. Not too much of, let's say, the research. In the R&D takes a lot more time in that business. Yeah. So there, I mean, we can look at whether it makes sense.
Thank you. So, Mr. Gopinathan, can you, apart from AI, which are the other emerging technologies you're using, to transform your processes and drive stronger business outcomes?
So, sorry, can you repeat the question, Momita?
Yeah. Along with artificial intelligence, are there any other emerging technologies that you are using in your processes, whether it's, in terms of manufacturing or your other back-end processes, or you plan to?
So basically, it is there is, how do you call it? I mean, there is this core technologies, and then the layer on top of that, which is, so to say, the data layer or the digital layer, right? So there is opportunities in both areas. So like Mr. Ranade mentioned, the LIMS, for example, the laboratory information management systems, for example, that is not there in every manufacturing facility, or a manufacturing execution system itself, which is the electronic batch management of the records, or document management, the content management, or the data acquisition that we need from all our PLCs and SCADA and HMI and all those things. So these are technology areas which becomes part of the company's core technology, right? There also a lot of work is happening in making sure, first of all, systems are implemented, or wherever it is implemented, we have the accuracy levels, the right frequency levels, and whenever there is data loss happening, how do we address, making sure that whenever there is data loss, the production stops, because in this industry we cannot afford to produce something without having the data attached to it, right? So all those, so wherever there is implementation needed, that implementation is happening. Wherever implementation has happened, we are trying to improve it constantly, as we go. So that is the technology core that I am talking about from a manufacturing point of view. Even in quality, you will see that there's a lot of digitization happening in addition to the laboratory information management system, the HPLCs that we need. How do we improve the quality of that? How do we get the data out of that as and when needed? Because the SDKs associated with these kind of instruments does not really have open APIs. So it does involve quite some technology intervention to get the data out of these machines. Yeah, so that's another area, a lot of work happening. Investigation management itself. How do you capture all the deviations and take quick actions and close them off? So there's a ton of activity happening in the manufacturing and quality area where technology plays a central role. And similarly, if you look at supply chain or sales and marketing, or even other functions like finance, where a lot of process automation is happening, robotic process automation is happening, thereby reducing the errors, increasing the speed, repetitive tasks being taken out of people's hands and minds, so that they can do something better. So all these technologies are playing a very, very serious role in the different verticals within the organization. This is other than the artificial intelligence and the data analytics I'm talking about.
Yeah. Thank you. And what about data security? Like the pharma industry currently, with all the clinical trials that are going on worldwide, everybody's talking about data security. So please
Yeah.
give us an overview of what's happening in the industry as well as in Lupin.
No, that's a given. It's not something that whether you want to do it or not. It's a must do, right?
Yeah.
That's a foundation, and it has to be continuously enhanced. One is data security, the other is the privacy, right? These two are extremely important. The gold standard for privacy is obviously GDPR in the EU, which is the standard we try and follow across the globe. So whichever new technology that we get into, or in existing technology, or even the relationships and the contracts that we have with partners, etc., we make sure that that is incorporated in a very standardized, strict manner. As far as security is concerned, I don't think there has been a time which has been, more important as far as information security is concerned, because whoever is, the bad boys here has been, a lot more aggressive in terms of doing what they do, and hence, it is very important for us to stay on top of the game. As you read in the different news that we see every day, something is going wrong somewhere in some company. So it's a very, difficult thought, something that keeps me awake and people like me awake, at night. So we do what we are supposed to do in terms of strengthening, hardening, educating, testing. Everything happens on a daily basis. We have a very effective security operations center within the company, which runs 24/7. So I mean, apart from the advisories that we get, which is used for implementing and taking actions in the company, we do our own research as well to make sure that we are staying on top of this. So yeah, I mean, this is a must do. It's not a choice. Without this, nothing else happens. If this goes wrong, everything goes wrong.
Thank you. So, Mr. Ranade, can you share with us, how HP has reacted to the COVID crisis in terms of, the positive impact it has made in the society? Do you have any examples, Mr. Ranade, to share with us?
Definitely, I can share those examples. But before that, now, I wanted to take 30 seconds to point out a very important aspect which Mr. Gopinathan said about having PLC and SCADA systems in the manufacturing, and also the points he was trying to make about data security. See, what we believe, while the quality and R&D aspects are within the labs and they are the key for developing new medicines and vaccines, manufacturing is also key when it comes to in terms of predictive analytics, which we want to do probably at the edge itself. So we don't want to wait the data to travel. So if the data is controlled in motion, we have that security aspects also covered, is what we believe as HP. And we have been doing this for more than a couple of clients, installing and ensuring that the IoT and the data analytics is done at the edge itself rather than bringing it to the data center. Now, coming back, how HP is responding to this COVID aspect is, we have a multi-fold program here. What we are trying to do is, at one end, we are trying to develop algorithms with renowned institutes and a lot of clients also. In collaboration with them, we are building AI algorithms to ensure that if there is any activity or any R&D activities which is going around COVID, we can bring in our high performance computing expertise, or we can bring in our AI and machine language expertise, and build in platform which will enable the pharma industry to create those medicines and vaccines for COVID, which are very much required by us, all of us as a citizen as well. So that is one aspect which HP is definitely doing, not only in the US, also in India. We are trying to help out many customers to bring in the requisite platforms, which will be the enabler for them to go ahead and create those wonder drugs for us. That is one aspect. Also, we are trying to reach out to patients where, we are doing a lot of healthcare related activities along with the, government entities in our CSR activities, where we are giving healthcare solutions, where we have healthcare platforms, where early detection of that COVID-19 can be done by the, doctors and, experts in the field. So this is a two-pronged, or rather I would say multifaceted approach which HP has taken. One, enable the pharma industry with our technology expertise around high performance computing and developing the algorithms, and we presenting this as an end-to-end solution. We're just not saying that, yeah, here is our high performance computing box and please go ahead and use it yourselves. We have experts and we have data scientists who are enabling those people there within the customer environment. And on the other hand, we are trying to reach out the, government entities and trying to help them deliver that healthcare to the last mile or the citizens and patients, and at least, help in early detection, which is the key today. So that is how I would sum up. We are trying to address the core, where we are bringing in core technology expertise, and also bringing that technology to the end, to the edge, where, we can detect as well. So we're trying to cover both the areas and help the not only the pharma industry but also the overall government's approach towards, eradicating COVID-19 from our country as well and from the world.
Okay, thank you. It is very interesting to know about the various initiatives of HPE.
So I think, sorry, I think I would like to add there to what Mr. Ananda was saying. Yeah, so data analytics, one of the challenges or the traditional challenges has always been that we used to do data analytics post facto, especially when it comes to...
Sorry, Chief, but I am unable to hear parts of what you're saying. Maybe a little louder will help me. Sorry.
Is this better now?
Yeah, it is better.
Okay, all right. So what I was saying is traditional challenge of data analytics has been that we used to do a post facto analytics in many instances, which means the data travels, gets to a database or data lake or wherever it is, and then algorithms run, and then we figure out, okay, what happened. Okay, so it helps, it helps in improving the operations by taking post facto actions. But what he just mentioned is the edge computing, edge data analytics and edge computing, which can actually take corrective actions then and there, which is also very, very important, because only then we can make, so for example, a batch failure. Okay, a batch failure on the line costs a lot to the company, yeah, which can be avoided if we can monitor parameters, the product quality, as well as other utility parameters around the manufacturing line, to take corrective actions then and there, so that for example, the mixing time of a blender, or the speed of the line which is running, whatever it is. Yeah. So if we can contribute towards improving the quality of the batch to remain within the limits, and thereby saving that batch, it is going to be very, very useful. So the one example that I'm talking about here. So this is an area which is gathering more and more thought. Of course, there are regulatory aspects around this, so that needs to be taken care of in pharma world compared to some other industry where this can be used. So it will go through that process of learning and making sure we build the confidence that this is the right thing that we're doing, right? So yeah, but it's very encouraging to hear that you're already doing so.
Thank you, Mr. Gopinathan. We will soon end our very interesting conversation, this Business Technology Leaders Forum. So any concluding words regarding your vision, as your tech vision for the pharma industry? How do you see, next 10 years, 15 years, particularly Indian pharma?
Yeah, I mean, the tech vision for any industry, in my opinion, cannot be just a tech vision. It is always a reflection of the business vision, where the industry wants to go, where the company wants to go. Yeah, so one thing is very clear as far as Indian pharma is concerned. We are a significant player in this sector globally, and I think it is going to become even more a significant player with everything that has happened. Where also probably the reliance of our industry on external forces we will try and minimize. So there is different things happening there. So for example, one thing that we did not talk about is the supply chain side of it. How do we develop a supplier ecosystem or a partner ecosystem or a vendor ecosystem and stay engaged with them? For example, yeah, how do we collaborate with them very effectively? So that, you know, this similar to what the car industry did a long time ago. Yeah, I mean, how do we create that ecosystem which totally contributes to that vision? And technology again plays a significant role if you want to stay engaged with them on a continuous basis on the work that they are supposed to do versus we are supposed to do, and have that constant engagement. So the supplier collaboration is going to be another area which is going to see a lot of transformation as we go. The engagement mechanism again with the different stakeholders other than this, which is the doctors, the healthcare practitioners, the patients, the content distribution, which I talked about earlier. This is also going to see a huge transformation as we go. So all in all, this is a very interesting sector as far as India as a country is concerned, because just like IT as an industry, pharma is an industry where India is a leader, and this is going to become more and more important. So I'm really excited to be part of this journey. Looking forward to contribute and make an impact in whatever possible that we can, and we'll work with the partners wherever needed as well. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Ranade, you'd like to add your concluding words, please?
Yeah, just like to build upon what Mr. Gopinathan said. You know, HPE Point Next solutions are geared up to deliver all the 4 pillars, which, you know, probably is required for the pharma industry. Like I started from the quality and R&D, where we have the requisite solutions and the platform to give the artificial intelligence solution. Then we come back to the manufacturing area, where we can do predictive analytics, and so like he said about the quality, you know, quality going bad in one of the batches, and how, you know, what repercussions it can have, you know, and delayed supply to the distributors can affect the business very well. So we can try and address that, and we can probably help them predict it earlier, so that they can stop that, you know, faulty manufacturing, if I would say that is the correct word. The third aspect is, he rightly said, reaching out to their, you know, end customers in terms of, you know, their suppliers and maintaining the supply chain. We have that requisite experience. In fact, we build upon our own experience, where HP is also into big time supply chain, because we ship our, you know, products all over the world. So we understand that solutions very well. And the third aspect is the resources and people which are probably there within the pharma industry, or perhaps with Lupin as well. So we have the education, you know, right from delivering, you know, in this COVID situation, how do we take care of our security of our laptop and those security awareness programs, to what do we need to take care during this, probably give a virtual reality education program if there is anything faulty at the manufacturing unit. So we are covering all the 4 aspects or the 4 pillars of what we can call a Smart Pharma 4.0. And we have these solutions, you know, we are not going to build it from scratch. We have done this worldwide for a lot of customers, and we can utilize the expertise within the HP Point Next to deliver such solutions. And we are talking about solution here, and we're not talking about a specific product, I would like to mention again. So that would be my concluding words. And obviously the security build around it. We have immense experience on building security operations centers, so, and understand security in all aspects of the, you know, infrastructure or the applications or wherever it is applied to. So that is how I would conclude that we are well geared, and HP Point Next solutions can deliver the requirement or the objectives of the pharma industry, and Lupin in particular, definitely.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gopinathan and Mr. Ranade, for this very lot of interesting information that you gave us regarding cutting edge technology in the pharma industry.